other people.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you
Love to
so
hear that.
much. Wow. Of course.
Yeah. Uh, on the topic of self help and development, I'd recommend the book Atomic Habits. That personally has helped me develop myself a lot. Truly.
Thank you
Okay.
so much for that recommendation, Happy.
Yes. And with that, I think we're ready to begin. Taka, can I get feeling? Are you
So
feeling ready? I'm
excited. I'm
ready.
so excited, Happy.
Okay, so yes, hello avatars and welcome to the second segment of your leadership training. I'm Javi, your fire-bending, money-spending, and co-presenting messenger for today.
And I'm Taka, your messenger na laging on a mission, shooting for his personal vision, kahit di 2020 ang vision. So if you guys remembered
Grabe.
last week, you guys look back on your personal experiences and of course, within yourselves as you centered in on your purpose.
Okay, this week naman, let's now look ahead and outwards as you guys move forward in your leadership journey.
So today, we will be reckoning ahead our leadership journeys as we envision ourselves in our dreams and aspirations. Javi, like parang I'm really excited for our session today.
Like parang dog, I agree, Taka. I was hearing all about it from the architects, and as a messenger, like parang I'd want to be an awesome avatar right now.
Grabe. The like parang sir, just grabe. But
Yeah,
Javi,
Ateneo.
like parang I don't really know what it means to reckon ahead. It seems like such a long shot to see myself into the future.
Well, maybe you should put on some glasses because the future doesn't seem so far away. That's exactly what we're here to witness, a discussion amongst individuals who are already actualizing their visions. So we're going to hear all about how they even made their visions, how they achieved these visions, and the whole thought process behind that.
Medyo masakit how you told me to put on glasses, Javi. I already
Sorry,
have
sorry.
glasses on. Okay, it's fine. But with that, let us all welcome Sir Jim Akut, Miss Trin Custodio, and Sir Albert Budahim. And of course, everybody, let's shower them with some lovely heart reacts.
Okay, guys, keep the heart reacts coming. So our panelists for today all come from different backgrounds. So allow us, your messengers, to introduce them. Sir Jim Akot is the constituency concerns management unit head under the office of the Vice President of the Philippines. Under this is the Angat Buhay program, which is VP Lenny Robredo's project on alleviating poverty, focusing on advocacy such as public education and universal healthcare. Uh, Previously, he was the student activities and leadership development head at Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan, where he worked closely with student leaders, very much like you guys.
Grabe and heavy. Office of the Vice President. Yeah, I'm a big fan. No? So up next is Miss Trin Custodio, who is currently the Executive Director of WWF Philippines or the World Wildlife Fund. She is responsible for leading the office in delivering conservation and organizational objectives in its 2021 to 2026 strategic plan. Along with this, she is also the director of the WWF Asia Pacific Growth Strategy, which is a regional growth and investment program covering 23 countries, Javi. That's like one more than 22 countries in Asia Pacific. Under her watch, WWF entered new markets in Asia Pacific and launched initiatives that grew WWF's partnerships and supporter base, which of course resulted in more than double the level of funding raised from within the region for conservation.
Grabe, such an amazing lineup so far of speakers. But that's not all. Last but definitely not the least, we have Sir Albert Budahim, who is the CEO and co-founder of Catapult Digital, which is a tech-driven marketing company founded by 5 former P&G executives. He was also awarded 2020 Asia's Top Digital Marketer of the Year award of Asia Marketing Federation. Along with this, he's also a certified professional coach and a DISC trainer and consultant of the John Maxwell team, where he specializes in leadership, personal growth, and development, as well as business building.
So before we begin, to of course moderate this discussion, we also have Gabi Sandejas, a sophomore here in MEA, and she will now lead today's discussion. So everybody take note that if you have any questions for our amazing panelists, head on over to our Slido and use the event code #leads in all capital letters -directing. So yeah, Gabi, take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Taka and Javi. And hi, everyone. I'm Gabby Sendejas, your people buddy who's always ready to party from 2BSME, and I will be your panel moderator for this afternoon. So before we start, of course, I'm sure you guys had a vibe check. So now we'll vibe check naman also with our panelists. So I would like to ask each of our panelists right now how they are feeling. So maybe we can start with Sir Albert, then move on to Miss Trin, and then Sir Jim after that. So hi, Sir Albert.
Hi, Gabby. So I'm feeling hopeful, especially we have Jim here from the OVP. I'm hopeful that these elections would lead to a better country. Hopefully, you guys know that the next president will have a huge impact on our inflation, deflation, forex, and many other things that can make our life either easier or miserable. So I hope you guys vote. Hopeful.
Okay, hopeful. How about you, Mister? How are you feeling right now?
No, I'm feeling very excited and certainly very re-energized being with a group of young people. I just came from a field visit to Legazpi, Albay, one of our most important conservation sites in the BBF Philippines. So it's always good to reconnect with nature and the reasons for what you're doing. So that's what I bring in today, yung energy and appreciating what I hope to get from the group as well.
Thank you so much for that, Miss Jen. And you're young also. You're very youthful. So, hopefully we can get some of your energy as well into today's discussion. Okay, how about you, Sir Jim? How are you feeling?
Hello everyone. Good afternoon. I feel at home kasi sobrang tagal na since the last time that I was invited to speak, no. Dati this was my life, but now in OVP sobrang busy, so and hindi ko mahihindihan din si Shenzhen and si Laika for inviting me here. So yun, I feel at home.
Okay, hopeful, excited, and at home. So thank you so much for that. Panelists. I am sure our participants are feeling somewhat the same way, if not also just as excited. So let's not prolong their excitement or their suspense any longer and dive right into our panel discussion for today to learn from our very, very esteemed speakers. So as the session is focused on building our own vision as leaders, for our first question, we wanted to ask you guys, what is your personal vision? And how do you tangibly translate this vision into your daily life? So this can be in terms of career, advocacies, family, or other aspects where you feel like you can kind of live that out. So maybe we can follow the same order as kanina. So Sir Albert?
Okay, what's the vision? So I have a lot of vision. So I've shared the vision after the elections. Hopefully it will be a better Philippines. The vision I have actually from a business standpoint or career standpoint is the future will be more technology enabled. We will have longer lives because of nanotechnology. And I wish to be part of creating that future. That's why our company, Catapult Digital, is into digital and technology and understanding how it can be leveraged to improve businesses and improve life. So yeah, so that's the visions I have.
Okay, so a more technology-driven future. That's so interesting. How about you, Ms. Trin? What is your personal vision?
Yeah, so my personal vision is a general one. It's mission accomplished. It covers different aspects of my life as a daughter, as a sister, as a wife, as a friend, as the head of our organization, as a Filipino, and with regard to my faith life. So some aspects of this become more important than others at certain times. So like now, I'm very preoccupied with work, our organization. But a couple of years back, when there was a family crisis, then of course my time needed to be for family. And there was also a time in my life when my work had become manageable and easier. So I spent a lot of my time on yoga practice and scuba diving. So I think of these aspects as dialing up or down in terms of volume and time allocation. But these are all parts of my many selves.
So are yourself something that, is this vision something that's already translated, or do you think it continues to translate with your many selves?
Oh, so it's a guideline, no, more than like a static picture, right? So I believe kasi na things unfold, right? And there is that interaction between the opportunities that come our way and what we create, the opportunities that we create. So itong pagiging mission accomplished means different things at different points in time. So now as the head of WWF Philippines, we have goals for the next 5 years of our strategic plan. They're very ambitious goals of nature being on the path to recovery in the Philippines. So that translates to different things that I do as the head of the organization and for the rest of the organization. So the point is yung alignment ng iyong personal vision and what you do at work as a person and other aspects of your life. The closer they are together, no, the better your use of your time. No, mas maximize siya, mas active. And the more you get the integration that you need to progress in those goals.
Thank you so much for that, Miss Jen. How about you, Sir Jim? Personal vision?
Sige. Sa akin naman, actually, situating lang in your context in student organization. During my time sa Xavier Ateneo, when I was back at senior high school, when we organized and institutionalized all the organizations of student government, and also was the parang a counterpart ng OSA sa Ateneo de Manila. So I was the head of the office there. My personal vision was always to empower student leaders to take an active participation in school governance and community-driven initiatives. So parang that personal vision kasi of mine, was institutionalized because of my different engagements also in Ateneo de Cagayan. So parang all of those things, because of that vision, led me to create together with the student body, of course, the senior high school student government, and then the senior high school organizations. And on a personal note, after parang telling myself na probably that was enough already, my personal vision really was building myself to serve others better. And when the opportunity came, that I was invited to work in the office of the vice president under the leadership of VP Len, I really took that opportunity and told myself that this is me building myself so that I can serve others better. Kasi mas malawak na yung scope ko sa OVP. Hindi na lang sa student body or within the four corners of the school or the university, but a nationwide context. So yeah, there.
Thank you so much. So yes, you're inspiring a different type of leader naman, and even the students now to kind of lead in our own ways through exercising our right to vote. So thank you so much for that, panelists. It's so inspiring to see and to hear how your personal visions morph in a way throughout your different aspects of your life, through your business, or even through, changing of jobs. So yes, I'm sure our participants are equally inspired. So now that we've talked about your personal visions, we kind of want to zone in rather into how you actually got to realize this vision. So now we ask, how did you craft your vision rather? And were there any past experiences that played a role in your discernment, or any factors you considered when committing to this vision? So maybe we can start naman with Sir Jim and work our way back to Sir Albert this time.
Yeah. Siguro sa akin, it really started back at college. Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan, is really hard on social formation. So back at college, during my university days, we were really drilled, no, to go to the communities, to go to the peripheries, and really immerse ourselves to the lives of the community. So before everything, no, I'm pretty sure you've heard of the Sumilo farmers, no, the March of the Sumilo farmers. Before, doon kami nag-immersion, no. We what do you call that? One experience that really struck me the most was a particular kid asked us, no, the immersees in Sumilaw na, Kuya, may bahay ba kayo? Yes, may bahay naman kami. May lupa din ba kayo? Tapos sabi namin, oo, may lupa din kami. Tapos yung sinabi ng bata that struck us the most was, naglakad din po ba kayo para makuha ninyo yung lupa ninyo? So the mere concept of that child, no, that you need to walk thousands of kilometers just for you to get a piece of the land. Yun yung context niya of how to actually get the land. And because of those experiences of mine, that led me, no, to building and crafting and to getting to know myself. No? Kasi you're building your values or creating your values becomes easier when you're self-aware, or you're going or you're journeying towards self-actualization. So it's not hindi siya madali, hindi siya overnight thing to do. It's a constant reflection and introspection that you need to do and you need to have. No? So aside from that, in college, I also joined the volunteer organization called JVP, the Jesuit Volunteers Philippines. I volunteered for 2 years, no, in Bilibid prisons, where I taught values formation to the persons deprived of liberty, the PDLs, and then I renewed to the program, and then I was assigned in Colyon, Palawan, and then there I taught literacy, no, basic literacy to our indigenous brothers and sisters. Those are the things, no, that shape the values that I have, the values and the vision that I have. So it's not just a particular moment, but it's a series of moments that I involved in, that where it made me realize that, oh, these are my sets of values, and this is the direction where I'm going. Thus, this is my vision for myself. And I think yung pinaka-powerful is once you create your vision, you need to realize na hindi lang siya magiging vision mo, it will also become the vision of others around you. And I think yun yung isa sa maganda na point. No? One of the beautiful things is to have that knowledge or awareness that once you craft your own vision, it's not your vision anymore, but it becomes the vision that you would want to have for other people as well. And I think yun yung gusto kong iiwan sa ating lahat. Crafting our personal values, once we become aware, no, and once we involve ourselves in lots of things, especially in community work, it becomes the values also of other people.
Thank you so much. So we really saw the journey of your vision, no, from a student until till now. I guess the question I would have would be, was this vision already something that was established earlier on as a student? Like was that the vision already, like student empowerment? Was that the beginning? Or were there certain things that transformed that vision towards the end? Was it different before, and what caused it to shift, I guess?
I think it became more clearer, probably, or redundant. It became clearer the moment where I was also involved in the different engagements, in the university. Kasi I realized now, once you give students opportunity where they can lead and be aware, they can learn. And once they learn, all these things, then it's their time also to pay it forward, to other people. So all the things that I've learned in college, doon namin na natutunan kung ano yung the realities of martial law. No? That's where we got a chance and got a glimpse kung ano yung mga struggles ng mga martial law victims, no? And martial survivors. Yun yung mga bagay na up until now dala-dala pa rin namin, no? I can still vividly remember yung isang martial law survivor na nag-share na nag-share sa amin before, no, na nawala unti-unti yung pamilya na up until now hindi pa nila nakikita yung father nila, no. They've been appealing to all the courts na wala pa rin nangyayari. So yeah, those are the things that led me to where I am right now, no? Student engagement, student formation, I realized that because I was also there, no? I experienced it, and that's the time na when I got a chance, no, to be in the position where I can form student leaders, that I can give opportunities to the student leaders. I grabbed that opportunity.
So I guess it ties into what you said about self-actualization. Your time as a student kind of helped you realize that, and your time as a formator also kind of influenced the forming of this vision also. Thank you so much for that, Sir Jeb. How about Miss Trin? How did you craft your vision?
Yeah, so did I know any of this or plan any of this at your age? No, absolutely not. It was a winding road, and it still is a winding road. But I've kept this general vision of mission accomplished since high school siguro or early college, because I wasn't one of the people who had very clear ideas of what or who they wanted to become. Right? So I remember I had classmates who at a very young age, entrepreneur na sila, nagnegosyo na sila, alam nila kung anong ba gusto nang gawin, yung mga gusto nang mag-med school noon pa, diba, alam na nila. Hindi ako ganon, right? So medyo general. So as a kid, I wanted to become a doctor because of my lolo who was a surgeon. In middle school, I was so into science. Yan, parang the universe, ganon, the earth. And in high school, as one of the people who started our debate club, yan, mga debate, legal issues. And I was also very involved in our parish choir and school choir, and later on in college in the Jesuit music ministry. So very varied interests. So yung importante doon was, I think, in hindsight, right? So picking up the different ingredients na trying to figure out ano ba talaga yung mga, diba, yung mga interests ko. Now, in terms of career, I graduated in 1996. Bago yung internet, bago yung internet, my degree was in MIS, and my first job was with an internet service provider. So my job was selling internet access. Can you believe it? Right? So I did sessions with our corporate clients explaining what the internet was about, right? They MIS, IT related, how to connect to the internet and all the benefits of the internet. Right? So when that business unit was moved over to the mother company Telco, our group kind of fragmented and moved to different areas and sort of thought, wait, maybe it's time to move, try to do something else. And what my next step was in an advertising agency. So it's very different to what an advertising agency looks like today. So doon ako na-expose sa NGOs, right? So that's where I learned that NGOs need the same skills and marketing resource as businesses. And that they are for causes that matter more to me. No? Yung mga hinahawakan ko kasi nung accounts are from corporate, skincare, all these conglomerates. And then I had a few non-profit clients na na-feel ko na, uy, nandun talaga yung pull sa akin. So we did NGO campaigns, and it was obvious to me how and where my priorities and skills would align. So at the time, I also got into scuba diving. And it was the time that made me love our oceans, right? So when you get exposed to something, di ba, may kasabihan na the grass is greener where you water it. No? So for me, yun yung naging environment. So when you love something, you learn more about it, and your passion for it grows. So ganun yung naging journey. A challenge came when my husband got his first overseas assignment, and we decided that we would move together. And continuing working with the NGO that I moved to wasn't possible. So I went back to the business and corporate side of things, but working in a different country for the first time was one of the most fulfilling times in my career, and which led me later on to be qualified for a regional role in the NGO that I'm presently with. No? So in summary, I believe na yung interaction nung opportunities, like yung grace or destiny na sinasabi, and also what you do, right, to create and change things and make opportunities, not only for yourself, but to benefit others as well. So yung one school of thought kasi is more causal, right? Like, I predict the future and I can control it. Diba? So parang you set a goal, you put resources needed to achieve that goal. The other school of thought kasi is that I can create the future, right? So yung need to predict that future is less important because you can take actions to create that anyway. And some even believe that it's impossible to predict the future. So parang yun yung dalawang balance o dalawang principles na where I found myself discerning, and that's why I in all of these years, no, parang valid pa rin yung concept ng mission accomplished. Now it means a whole lot more now being the head of WWF Philippines, but that main general vision still holds true.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Chin. And I think this is especially comforting for a lot of us here that are still kind of unsure as to what their future is. No, especially in college, it's a little difficult for us to kind of have a clear 5-year plan or to plan out our future way in advance. So I like what you said about, picking up the ingredients and the key of self-exploration that hopefully a lot of our audience members can pick up on as well, and focus more on making their future instead of trying to chase after a certain path. So thank you so much for that, Ms. Chin. How about we'll move on to Sir Albert. How does your vision of technological innovation and your personal vision tie into your past experiences?
Okay. So to be honest, just like Trin, I have been also adapting to the many things that has happened to my life. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a doctor also, because I have an idol. She's a doctor in the USA, and obviously she has a lot of money, and I wanted to be like her. And so technically for me, my vision has been changing. But what I found to be helpful when I joined Procter & Gamble was PVP, Purpose, Values, and Principle. So you see, every year, nag-change yung vision ko. You can just imagine how much my vision has changed when the pandemic happened. Okay? And the vision changed when I got married, when I had kid, a son, and then something happens. The vision changes actually, And more surprisingly, it's something that I adapt to the changing times. So so in my past experiences, I have been changing roles, changing companies. Every time something change, the whole vision changes. No? So what factors did you consider? So to me, actually, yung vision ko, personally, just like I like how Tin says, their life is multifaceted. Diba? Depending on which vision are we talking about. Are we talking about my vision for my family? If that's the case, then yeah, of course, I just want to have a happy family and my kids to be happy, and hopefully I live long, like up to 100 years old. But I know that for the leads, I know you guys are looking for what does it mean from a leadership standpoint and career standpoint. So from a leadership standpoint and career standpoint, keep in mind that the vision should be something that is situational, something that you should revisit every now and so often. But what should be clear is yung mission, diba? Just like the mission of WWF, right? The mission of any government official, the mission should be clear. The mission should be consistent. So that's my answer. No, know that it's okay if your vision keeps on changing. That's okay. But I hope you guys find your mission or your purpose. So for me, what's my purpose? It's touching lives, and improving life. Whether it's a marketer or as a leader, I want to make sure I'm always improving things around me, improving quality of life. And I don't know where it will be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, but one thing for sure I'll be doing is improving lives of people and touching lives with everything that I do. Diba? So, yun. It's not a direct answer, but I hope you understand that times have changed and my vision is more short term. 1-3 years, I would say, is my vision. Like, my vision for Better Philippines is hopefully better turnout of elections. No? So my vision has been adjusted to 1 to 3 years, unless the facet is talking about my family. But in terms of leadership, definitely 1 year lang yung horizon ko for vision. And then when it comes to career, I have like 3 years no horizon. But one thing is consistent is my PVP, that's purpose, values, and principles. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Sir Albert. I guess also maybe I would just like to ask if how do you deal with perception shifts and adjustments of vision? So like, are there any key steps that you take when it comes to reevaluating? Because you said your vision has changed throughout the years, based on, especially given like the whole COVID situation. I'm sure I'm speaking for all of us here where our visions are totally, altered. So
Yeah.
are there any certain aspects or things you take into consideration when kind of reevaluating your vision and changing it?
Yeah, so when you're evaluating the vision, the number one is like, does it feel right? Do you think it's right? To me, that's just it. Do you think it's the best way to adapt? Because a lot of things are changing. Like there was a time that my vision was to be the global president of Procter and Gamble. Then something happened. Your leaders, your supporters starts leaving the company and you say like, oh my gosh, how will I become Asia president when the supposedly global president who's going to support me become Asia president has left the company? So so vision, when does it say it's okay to adjust? When the elements have changed, when your environment have changed, diba? You have to adapt. You have to adapt and find a way to thrive in the current situation, in whatever situation you find yourself. You have to adapt. No. Also in vision, it comes with realizing that you're not always right. No, so, I can be wrong, and because I can be wrong, then that means everything that I think was right to do, it can be wrong as well, diba? So then I become more, I would say, realistic and say na, yes, I had a dream, but I have to adjust. So so again, my ano is if I think it's right, if I feel it's right, and I know it's right, so then I would move.
Thank you so much for that. I guess we can also extend that question also to our other speakers as well. Ma'am Chid or Sir Jib, if you guys have anything to add when since everyone kind of shared Sir Albert's sentiments in adjusting your vision, were there any key steps that you guys had in reevaluating and adjusting your visions as well? Anyone can go.
Sige. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Sir Jib, loud and
Ayan,
clear.
sorry, nalobat yung laptop ko.
Okay lang.
Nasa labas ako. Siguro, shaping our vision din siguro, we really need to get to know the signs of the time, no? Ano ba talaga yung nangyayari ngayon? Kasi yung sinabi ni Sir Albert is very real, no, na hindi pwede na isa lang yung maging vision mo and you get to be fixated with that kind of vision. Kasi the world is changing. You need to adapt. You need to also change, no, yourself. And I think the vision, that's why it's important to have a vision that's not that does not lead you to be fixated in that vision lang talaga, no. Always have that room, no, na ano ba talaga yung kailangan ng mundo ngayon. This is where introspection comes in, and self-awareness na ano ba yung skills mo, ano ba yung mai offer mo sa mundong ito ngayon. Especially, you know, high time ngayon na when we talk about the war really is in social media or in digital na world. So if you have skill set that allows you to counter fake news, to counter disinformation, then you use that skill and you try to engulf yourself to that kind of vision. Marami marami pa. So it's really up to you, your values, your skill set, and also what you can offer. Yun yung mahalaga eh. Ano yung may aambag mo? Ano yung may offer mo? Willing ka ba? May skills ka nga na ganito, ganyan. Pero again, at the end of the day, are you willing? Are you willing to invest? Kasi part of everything, I guess, pwede siyang sabihin na investment eh. Kasi malaki din yung return of investment on your part, no? And there are really times na it will be risky. Masasaktan ka when you involve yourself, no? That's part of reality. Pain is always, no, inevitable when you try to better the world, no? And I think yun lang, yung capacity, your capacity to identify your strength and to offer that strength, no, that allows you to change, no, and to adapt, no, and to reconfigure your vision.
Thank you so much for that, Sir Jim. I really liked what you said about not being super fixated. I think that's something that a lot of us struggle with, which is why reevaluating is so important, especially amidst challenges. So, how about you, Ma'am Chin?
Oh, I think yung sa akin na mission accomplished, it's general enough. And I don't know if some of you might think it's a little bit of a cop-out na, oh, sobrang general mission accomplished, you know, you can put in whatever you want that to mean at certain posts at certain times in your life. But I think what's important is that discernment and that staying true to yourself. Now, what does mission accomplished mean for this time in your life? So as long as you stay true and, you know, be honest with yourself as to know what that means specifically and how that should adjust, then you would feel, what is the word? You will feel whole. So nagkaroon ako ng experience, for example, no, being in WWF for a long time and of that regional Asia Pacific program, nagkaroon ng opportunity na, magre-retire na yung head ng WWF dito sa Philippines. Would you like to apply for that role, right? And that is a very major responsibility, right? To oversee the organization in the Philippines na napakalaking mission, napakalawak ng goals that is concerned with the future of the country, right? Being where we are in the center of the marine biodiversity, very vulnerable to climate change with a large and young population, napakabigat ng responsibility. So, yung challenge sa akin nun of discernment was, would I do this or not? Right? Will I even put myself forward here or not? And that was the time of the pandemic. Parang bago lang yung pandemic nun. Tapos, ang tingin ko, yung perception ko sa option na binibigay sa akin was, okay, you've been doing this regional job pretty well for for how many years now? Almost a decade. Tapos, bibigyan ka pa ng more work and harder work. So, parang, what I need now is not more work, less work. No, we were already all adjusting in the region to the pandemic, all doing our digital transformation, etc. So, at that point, I really wrestled with, what is this opportunity? What does it mean? What should I do? No, so at that point, I really had to fall on yung mga values-based na and faith-based na resources, right? So I talked with my friend who's a priest. I talked with, all my mentors and my friends and my family, and of course my husband, to try and discern parang what would I make of this opportunity, and why is this landing here? So ultimately, what I needed to hear pala, okay, from a friend of mine who's a Jesuit, was, Trin, God doesn't want for you to suffer and have a hard time, right? That's not what the Lord wants for you. Yun. So parang I needed that assurance na, hindi pala yung you should just go for what's harder, what's more challenging, yung para bang what's just more is that's what you should do. No. So there is that reward and that fulfillment that's there for you to enjoy, right? The growth, the personal growth, the experiences, the friends that you'll gain along the way from making that decision. So when I heard that pala, okay. So nagkaroon ng ganong nuance na the harder way is not always parang the right way, no? It can also be happy, right? It can also be super exciting. It can also be your chance for impact and friends and greater rootedness in the country. So after that message of hope, so yun yung naging yun yung naging trigger ko na this is a move that I need to make. So that was I would say one of the key things na parang led to a shift. So my vision was still mission accomplished, but that meant a different thing now, directing the effort more into the Philippines rather than broader in the Asia Pacific region.
Thank you for that. I think it all boils down to what you said, staying true to yourself, which is something I think Sir Albert also talked about with his PVP, so his purpose, values, and principles, and even Sir Jim with his what feels right to you. So I guess something we can leave with our audience today is just kind of figuring out also a certain level of introspection that makes you realize how you want to push forward in the future. So like Ms. Chin mentioned, the journey to living out your personal vision isn't always smooth sailing. So like any other leadership journey, there will always be bumps along the way. So I guess we can start with Ms. Chin also for this question, since she already touched on it a little bit, and then move on to Sir Albert. And then Sir Jim, I think, what challenges have you gone through in pursuing your vision? And how did you redirect your vision, given your new realizations and insights? So challenges can be in the form of external constraints, as Ms. Chin mentioned earlier with her move, or it could also be internal factors, apprehensions, and anxieties that you have experienced.
So I already touched on the one, my decision process to take on the leadership role of WWF in the Philippines. Syempre, if you're already happy doing something, you're challenged and good, parang to take the next step, diba? That's always challenging, no? But even within my current role, no, syempre, madaming challenges. So una na yung taking on that role, right? So immediate second is coming to a quick assessment of the situation, di ba? Parang papasok ka dito, bago, ano ba to? Right? Is this a turnaround situation? Is this a new parang growth situation, ganun, no? So parang you have to learn very quickly ano yung pinapasok mo and what are the necessary interventions or actions or things that you should learn. And for that, I would actually suggest a book or a very helpful resource in the first 90 days. So I know when there are presidents, right, it's always important to know the first 100 days, right? But for anyone coming into new roles, new positions, I would recommend the book, The First 90 Days, right? Because that really helped me also. And then it's also identifying some early wins. Parang coming into a new a new leadership role, new position, ganon. Challenging your vision kasi medyo general naman yung mission accomplished. So identify some early wins, avoid para ma-avoid mo yung early missteps. And then bringing in people to help. So concretely in the WWF Philippines, when I came in, syempre pandemic CEO, right? So yung mga transformations sa digital, how to move your operation to allow for remote working. And then Typhoon Odette hits. So you kick in to crisis mode. So we have operations all across the country. We have project sites and partners in some of the very hardest hit areas of Typhoon Odette, yung mga fishing communities that we work with on sustainable fishing, sa Siargao and Dinagat, kung saan kami merong solar power microgrid plant na tinatayo. Yan yung mga natamaan ng Typhoon Odette. So, yung paano yung mag-shift gears to a different type of leadership na hindi masyadong kompleto yung information, diba? Mahirap yung communication. You have to take account everyone's safety and be very clear about your responsibilities to your partner and what you're going to do to respond to a crisis. So yung ganong adaptability, that's very important. Clarity of values, which I always like this Zoom background because it shows yung values ng WWF as an organization, yung apat: courage, respect, integrity, and collaboration. So pag wala kang policies, wala kang fallback sa anong gagawin mo, ito talaga yung gagamitin mo na compass to judge yung mga decisions that you will take. So those are the couple of things that I want to share. Then yung challenge nung pagpasok mo into a new role, and then yung importance ng shifting different styles of leadership.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Jen. And I think I would have to pick up that book in the near future to give it a read also. I guess we can move on also to Sir Albert, who has also read the book. I'm assuming based on your chat.
It's a really good book. It goes with the book ni Ray Dalio. It's called Principles by Ray Dalio. Anyways, on the question, so for example, Catapult Digital, my vision is to make the company the biggest digital agency in the Philippines and one of the best globally. So that's my vision. And 5 years ago, I only had one employee. So my challenge is very clear. How do I grow my company with one employee? And back then, my capital was only 250,000 peso. So very small, diba? And so that's my challenge. And then how do I redirect my vision? When I realized that I wasn't selling my service, I was actually, ang realization ko, it's not helping just selling my services and making money, but I was actually really helping my friends. No, so I've been fortunate that I've been working for Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal, Avon, the big agencies, Interpublic Group, which owns Macan, and Publicis Group. So I've been lucky, and since then I now have 35 employees, and I'm happy to help out my friends, no? So until now, we don't really go out pitching. So wala, from friends to friends, no? And I guess that's also what I would like to make sure you guys do. And I love that, you know, Ateneo would always say man for others, no? To look beyond to the commercial aspect, no? Whatever money it is. Because if you pursue money, it's gonna get you tired. Like, oh my gosh, all these days. And then you're gonna splurge it into silly things, no, which I did also, by the way. I splurged it on like Mercedes, on nice fancy car, on watches that, during the pandemic, like shit, what a waste of money, no? Um, so yun, so realizations ko yun eh. So realizations that one experiences over luxury is more important, right? Number two, it's all about going beyond to the money you make, but actually to the difference you make, no? Especially in the closest, no? Ako, I know that, like VP Lenny has really like big, noble dreams. Ako more of like my dream for my friends, my family. Those are really close to me, and those that I really give importance to. No? So like for example, this seminar, if not for Anton Alianan, I would have not attended this. And so that's how I operate. No? And I'm happy when I do certain things for my friends and family. So Anton is not my friend, he's not my batchmate, but he's the brother of my friend who is Drew Alianan. So yun yung mga realization ko na parang at the end of the day, there are people who's not gonna like me, but there are people who likes me, diba? And those are my friends and family. And I know that my friends and family will help me, whatever would happen to me, again, adapting and thriving. And of course, I should give the same importance to them. So yun, there will be definitely so much challenges ahead of you, diba? And yun lang, what I warn the young ones, no, you guys are very young still. I'm 40 years old. What you need to be careful is when you give too much or too much time to people who doesn't like you. Because guess what? There will always be people who doesn't like you. Maybe in 100, maybe 10, 20 will not like you. Why spend money, time on them, diba? Or tears on them? You spend time with the people on your side. No? And John Maxwell book, he will call it the circle of your influence. You have a bigger circle of concern, people you cannot control, but there's a circle that you can influence, and that you care about, and make sure that you focus on that one. That's from me. Thank you.
That's such an amazing takeaway. I never thought about it like that. So very interesting. Circle of concern and circle of influence. I think also maybe a question. You shared how you realized that you should pay closer attention to the difference you make rather than the money you make. Speaking as someone, I guess, that has been very active in the business sector and, as you said, has splurged on your fair share of things. I guess when did that shift happen? When did you realize that you wanted to pay closer attention to difference rather than
Money
the other
you
thing?
make, yeah. So some of my employments, you can check my LinkedIn, paid really, really well. And I was actually offered to join a bigger company that will pay me $1 million a month. But this company is known to be very toxic. And the boss that I will be reporting to is also known to be very toxic. So there's no doubt I'll make a lot more millions, no? In fact, millions in a month. But there I said, okay. But I also realized I got sick somewhere 2015. I was hospitalized, and at my early age of 35, I have hypertension, high blood pressure, and some of my friends already were dying, at young age, but they're very successful. So that's when I realized that for what, you're gonna be so successful and you die at a young age. And then Steve Jobs, I think, died also somewhere around that time frame, diba? So that's when I realized like money can't buy you a life, diba? Money can't buy you years ahead of you. Even if you have all the money. My father-in-law also died. He had a lot of money. He accomplished a lot. He was a 4-star general. And then, he died at the age of 57. That's young, huh? My lolo and lola died in their 90s, no? So, yeah, so you realize actually that money can be earned anytime, but your life is precious, Your heart is precious. Your mental thing is also precious, diba? So take care of it. You know, there are things you cannot buy, such as your body and your heart and your life. So make sure you value that more than money. And then the other part is, how do you feel? And what I've discovered is you feel good when you know you have helped your brother, your sister, your friends, diba? Me, I feel good. You know, if you look into how much the company earns, to me it's irrelevant. You know, I'm hiring the brother of my friend. I have my mom on accounting, and she've never been paid this much, no, until she worked for me. And to me that makes me happy, because I believe I only have three things I want in life: long life, 100 years old, happiness, right, and prosperity. So comfortable naman. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite and say okay lang for me to lose everything, and live on the streets. Like, hindi naman. But so long life, happiness, prosperity, and I make decisions in that order. Diba? So if something that is prosperous comes in my way, like high income, but I know I'll be working very hard, and I might be trading my years of life for more money, I will not do it. Kasi first ko muna is long life, pangalawa yung happiness. So, am I gonna be happy doing this? No? So that's why I love helping my friends, because I'm happy when I help my friends, diba? Happiness, and then yung third, of course, I want to live comfortably, especially for my kids. I want to make sure they're covered under education. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that, Sir Abet. And I'm sure all of these realizations and insights have really propelled your business forward in the way it has. I feel like, instead of just paying attention to, the money and the difference, rather, you were able to grow. I mean, from one employee, 250K, all the way up to where you guys are now. It's a very admirable thing. So thank you so much for sharing that, Sir Abet. We will move on also to Sir Jim, if you're here. Hello. I guess we talked earlier about all the sleepless nights you've been getting recently working for OVP. So maybe you can expound a little bit more on the challenges that you're going through right now in pursuing your vision.
Ayun. Actually, hindi masyado muna sa OVP, but I'm gonna share muna a personal challenge of mine before. Before I had the realization that I wanted to involve myself, in different organizations, so that I can help more people. One personal challenge that I had was really my grades. Hindi mataas yung grado ko before, because during my earlier days in college, nalulong ako sa computer, no? So every single day I play the computer, I play Dota, um, like literally mas mahaba yung time ko sa computer shops kaysa sa school, no. Ganyan yung life ko first year and second year college, up until third year college, I think, no. And then yun, it changed because of a particular experience that I had during my involvement in Ateneo, no, de Cagayan, where we alternative Christmas party to the prostituted women and their children. And then I got a chance to converse with the child, no, of a prostituted women, na um, parang it revolved around gusto ng nanay, the mother wanted her kid to excel well in school, so that the kid won't involve herself in prostitution. And I think that also one of the things that struck me most, na anong tawag ito, that it made me realize na grabe, I'm here, I'm privileged enough, and then then here I am, parang not taking education seriously, and I'm just taking education for granted. Doon ko na realize na I really need to change my life. On a personal note, it I changed myself because of what I realized, because of what I experienced. And true enough, no, good thing, hindi pa huli yung lahat. No, I turned my life around, no, nag 360. Hindi na ako nagko-computer. I involved myself in community organizations. That's where I learned about all the engagements. No, so I joined. I was one of the key individuals who established the Ori Youth Development Council. It's a local youth development council in CDO, where all the youth have a representation, in local governance. So in education committee, in transport and security, may youth representative that has voting power to craft and pass laws. No, I think because of those experiences that I had, no, it made me realize I need to catch up. No, kailangan kong mag-double time in cleaning, kung baga, my resume kasi hindi nga maganda yung resume ko nung college, no? Hindi maganda yung grades ko. Although wala naman bagsak, pero hindi siya maganda. That's why I involved myself. And yun, because of that, I involved myself in YSEALI, Young Southeast Asian Leadership Initiative. I was an exchange student. I got a chance to go to the US for free, to Thailand, to Indonesia. And all these seminars made me realize and also had me parang what do you call that? Made me realize na kung ano ba talaga dapat yung gagawin ko, no, in my life. And that led me to the opportunity here in ABP. So one thing, you need to really to be aware kung saan ka ngayon, and you need to make necessary changes in your life, no. Yun yung isang challenge. Second challenge is from I got this, you need to surround yourself with people that makes you feel safe, no. Isang book ni sa Leaders Eat Last, no, ni Simon Sinek. There he discussed yung circle of safety, no? That you need to really surround yourself to like-minded people. You need to surround yourself with people that makes you feel safe and that nourishes you, no. Aside from that, no, in connection with crafting our vision needs to be infinite, no. Another book din ni Simon Sinek called The Infinite Game talks about how you build your vision in an infinite mindset, not in a finite mindset. Because once we have an infinite vision, no matter what the signs of the time is, you can adapt. No, for example, by Kodak. No, not sure if you're familiar with Kodak. That's a film. No, that's why they didn't boom. It's because they didn't change. No, they didn't have that infinite mindset. No, kasi wala naman. Everything is going digital. Yung pera nasa phones na, no? Wala na masyado nagpapa-develop ng camera. That's why hindi nag-boom yung ano nila, yung company in the long run. That's why Facebook grew because they had an infinite game na yung lives of the people will revolve around their phone, and their phone, you need to connect yourself with one another. That's why social media happened, no? And all those things need to have that sense of an infinite game and an infinite mindset. And yun, I think that's the one that I would want to personally share. No? That the challenges that I have personally, that I need to articulate to myself, that I need to change something, so that I need to articulate to myself that I have a problem, so that I can address this kind of problem. Once you can't articulate your problem, you can't solve a problem, di ba? Kung hindi mo ma-articulate na yan yung problema mo. So, after that, your articulation of the problem, you need to act on the problem. Rather, you need to act on the solution. And after that, you need to surround yourself with like-minded people. People that keeps you safe, people that nourishes you, to become better a person. And I think yun, the constant challenge, hindi mawawala yan. Kahit na andyan na yung safety circle mo, kahit na infinite yung mindset mo, andyan pa rin yung mga challenges. And I think because of all the things that you had, no, that allows you to address, and that allows you to navigate through those challenges, and for you to come out victorious, kumbaga. So I think yun yung mahalaga na mga points that made me bounce back, no? Self-awareness, articulation of the problem, finding out kung ano yung magiging solution ng problem na ito, and then navigating myself in sustaining yung infinite mindset.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Sir Jim. I hope you guys were all able to catch that and write it down. I know I did it. Choose your circle, and a lot of other brilliant takeaways that you've shared with us so far. So this is going to be similar to the next question. So before we wrap up this discussion and before we hear from our participants, since I know that they probably have a lot of burning questions from for our panelists, rather, we wanted to ask for your own words of wisdom naman for our young leaders. So I guess since Sir Jim kind of touched on it already, he can go first, and then Sir Albert, and then we can close off with Ms. Chin. What tips and nuggets of wisdom can you share to individuals who are unsure about their own personal vision? How about for those who are apprehensive about not being able to achieve it? So, Sir Jim,
Ayun. Siguro for me, being unsure of your vision is perfectly okay. Doubting your vision is perfectly okay. I think yung beautiful thing for me is once you doubt something, that something exists, di ba? And if that something exists, per se, let's say your vision, it allows you to clarify it. So I think yun nga, in a Jesuit na educational system, doubting is an important aspect of you trying to have a step closer towards your own personal truth, no? And I think yun yung pinaka-important. Once you doubt, you're trying to clarify your intention. You're trying to get closer to your personal truth. And I think yung pinaka-important lang is kahit na you doubt or kahit na you're unsure, the next step for you to do is to just take a step forward, no? Don't let yourself stagnate. I think yun yung pinaka-important siguro, makalimutan niyo yung lahat, na wag niyo lang makalimutan na I hope you don't stagnate. You need to move forward. Um in order for you to build your vision, first you need to align yourself with your interest, no? Your vision needs to be aligned with your interest. It needs to be aligned with your skills. It needs to be aligned with your values. It needs to be aligned with your goal. And lastly, it needs to be aligned with what the world needs. Yun siguro yung mga nuggets na pwede kong ibigay sa inyo.
thank you so much for that, Sir Jim. Especially with what you said about what the world needs, no? I think it's important also to not lose ourselves within the context of ourselves, but apply ourselves within the context
Eh,
of, you know.
Lastly pala, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Lastly pala, I remembered, no, I always keep on telling Laika this one, na for example, in government, what we really need in government is really people that knows how to build good systems, no? Build good processes. And I think this is where your course is very important in government work. Um, Hindi lang for corporate yung yung ME, no, management engineering. I think one of the parang mga brilliant people that I encountered with management engineering work in government. And I think yun nga yung isang challenge is baka broadening ourselves, no, or management engineering, broadening yourselves na hindi lang for corporate yung skill set ninyo and yung course ninyo. But the course really entails you, or Jesuit education entails you, that management engineering can build lives through building good processes. And what more builds lives than building good processes in government? And I think yun yung isa sa gusto kong i-challenge sa inyo right now and right here, na try to consider government works. And government works, once you build good processes and good practices, due to your skills, no, because of your skills, it could really change the lives of other people. Yung tinatawag natin improved quality of life that can be felt through good processes and good practices.
Thank you so much for that, Sir Jim. So, guys, that was a call to all of us here, government work, if anyone is considering it, to give it a good think and to apply our skills into what the world needs, as Sir Jim said. Okay, Sir Albert, any nuggets of wisdom for us before you let us go?
Yeah, so for me, the nugget of wisdom is, again, there are many things that happen that I never thought will happen, right? I never thought that my cell phone would be as powerful as a computer. Now, I'm sure Trini remembers na it's only for calling yung cell phone. Tapos malalaki pa siya, di ba? But the battery is like a backpack, right? Those days. But one thing for sure, I want you to, if you're worried about your future, the first thing you need to look at into is your quality of your habits. Okay. Is your habit every night is just watching TV, right? Or are you reading some books? Is your habit on weekends just being lazy, or are you doing something that is impactful? Diba? So look into your habits, no? And then talking about books, I love the books of the Seven Habits, right? But Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. No, if you're lost, one thing for sure that you will not fail if you build the right habits, because the habits will lead to your values. Eh? You know, what do you value? You look into your habit. Do you value your time? Because if you value your time, you wouldn't waste it. Let's talk about strategic thinking. Look into your habit. Are you doing more long-term impact, or are you thinking short-term? Diba? Because if you're long-term, then therefore you have strategic and critical thinking. If you always think about short-term, like, I just want to feel good this weekend, I'm just gonna drink, um, then therefore, you don't have it, the critical and strategic thinking. So that's my tip for you. I don't want to be highfalutin. It's also from a lot of learning. No? Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill also looks into your quality of habits. Atomic Habits also is saying that if you look into a fat person and ask why that person is fat, look into the habit. If you look into a very fit person like Derek Ramsey, diba, or any celebrity you admire, or any musicians that you guys, just like you, Gabby, diba, your siblings, you say like, oh, they're very good in music. Look into their habit. How much of music do they play, diba, with their musical instrument versus other things, no? And you can see that it's because actually the habits almost predicted what will happen to their future. No, and if you look into me, I always say I'm a working student. I always study and I always work. And those are the two things that I have my habit, diba? I just call myself I'm a working student. What my persona? Working student, diba? I'm a working student. So I have been acquiring a lot of knowledge, whether it's a seminar, a class, a diploma, a certification, a book. But I'm always learning and I'm always working. And along the way, of course, it's fun to learn to work. With work, I get a lot of things that I get to share with my family and friends. So I hope that helped you guys. And yeah, thank you.
That's so interesting. Build your habits. I think that's something also we all might need to take a step back and reevaluate. Maybe I should read a little bit more also. I'm excited. I have a lot of things to add to my reading list. Okay, Miss Trin?
Yeah, thank you. I wonder if I can ask to put the view on gallery and ask people to turn on their videos if that's okay. Because I have a question to the group before I address the last point.
Sure. Okay, can we call on everyone? If you guys are able to turn on your cameras, please feel free to do so.
Then, yan, okay. Para mas may interaction. It makes a difference. It makes a difference when you see each other, right?
For sure. So to all of our participants here, if you guys are comfortable with turning on your cameras, please feel free to do so.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, parang ano yung concerns ninyo about the future, right? So this is a session about leadership, which obviously has to do with what your plans are, how this will help you into the future. Ano yung concerns niyo for the future? You just put that on chat, or if you want to unmute yourselves and just share. State of the country after the upcoming elections, right? That's an unknown. We're all faced with. Meron pa ba? Diba? Pwede ring personal yung concerns nyo eh. Same. Yan. Ako. It's really, I think many of us are really concerned about the same things. State of the country, the environment certainly is what we at WWF, of course, is also addressing. If there's still a world to live in, meron naman, ang tanong is yung quality.
Yung
Diba?
World War III, I think that's
Yung
also where it's
quality.
coming from.
Ukraine, Russia, right? Anything else? The quality of the work in the new normal. Absolutely. Ayan. Meron pa? Oo. So maraming unknowns talaga. No? And the kind of leadership that is needed in this situation na napakadaming unknowns, medyo may pagka-unknown din, no? Because it's also evolving. No, but what I hope you see from the sharings of the three of us today is that there really is a full trust in the youth, no? And what we see is really yung guidance and input and support system for you guys as the ones coming in to the workforce and then eventually coming to the leaders, to give you that guidance, the confidence, and the support to face all of these challenges. So, ang message ko sa inyo na yung tips and nuggets of wisdom is that things will unfold. Na kailangan yung discernment, yung listening, and also that balance with your own moves to affect the future. Hindi pwede yung nag-iintay kayo anong darating, but in that principle of effectuation, you will create the future and that it will make a difference. So I can speak from the WF experience that is possible, right? So all this usapan about plastics, I don't know how many of you are involved in that, pero yon, concrete example ng public campaign, nagkaroon ng public discourse and this ground swelling of support that really changed things, na imbis na passing the buck, na yung company saying, problema yan ng government, they should regulate plastics, and as companies, people won't buy it, no? And then people saying, wala namang options for plastics, gano'n, no? So pasahan ng blame across the sectors. Pero nangyari yung ground swelling of support na, ngayon meron na tayong awareness about single-use plastics, about plastic pollution, and then the government has put in policies on producer responsibility, regulating yung well, you might have seen yung sa single-use plastic, but on a higher level, the plastics that come into the market in the first place, and then efforts to improve waste management para hindi nagli-leak into nature. No? So my point is, it's possible, right? The change is possible when all of the sectors work together. And a lot of that talaga is from yung youth and public action. So that's why I'm saying full yung aming trust sa power of the youth. And that you should not be apprehensive or be afraid about the things that will happen. Second is using the values as your compass. That's been expounded on several ways. The third is the importance of peer groups and mentors. And I think you being here today, kayo na, self-selecting group ito, right? So kayo na, alam niyo na kung sino yung mga interested sa ganitong mga topic. And I hope that you don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us to help mentor you, right? To help guide kung merong decisions na malamang dinaanan na rin namin in the past or baka bago, that we can help you steer in that direction. And to get exposure early on in your careers, whether that's working abroad, working in different sectors, to fail early and fast, right? So that you have time to recover and learn and craft different pathways. And finally is to use what you have good. So yun yung, I don't know if those bits of wisdom, but certainly I hope helpful in your own journeys.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Miss Chin. And thank you so much once again also to Sir Jim and Sir Albert. It was so inspiring to hear all of your stories. And without further ado, since we will now be approaching the Q&A session, I will hand you guys off to our energetic and very amazing hosts, Javi and Taka.
Yes, again, just to reiterate, Gabby, thank you so much. We would like to extend our deepest gratitude to all of you, our panelists. I personally loved hearing about how each of you talked on your own personal stories, your personal visions, your endeavors, and your advocacies, of course. I especially love to hear how each of you is fueled to catalyze positive change and leave your own personal footprint in our world. Whether it's pleasuring and bettering the lives that we have at this moment or pushing the future forward, I can see how each of you is driven and strong. The journey of finding your mission and vision really isn't a one size fits all type of situation. So it has been incredibly amazing to hear from all of you about your unique stories. How about you, Taka?
Yeah, thanks so much for those insights, Javi. Grabe. But same, no, I was super inspired. What personally stuck with me was how, we kind of opened up about how visions can change, right? Like times are changing, and of course, we should adapt to them. And so it's okay for them to change. And syempre, it's okay for us to doubt them as well. I really love that from Sir Jim because ayun nga, it's part of the process of strengthening our visions. So it's okay to doubt as long as, we use it to better our visions in the future, Javi. Grabe.
Tama yun. I really resonate with that also, Taka. So again, guys, if you have any questions, please head on over to our Slido and enter the code hashtag leads in all caps, hyphen directing. So we will now pass the virtual mic back to Gabby to ask some amazing and insightful questions.
Hello again, guys. Sana you're not tired of me pa, no? Okay, so we have a lot of questions actually for our wonderful speakers here today. So our first question from the Slido was, do you have any advice for individuals who are passionate about their purpose and vision, but fear that they won't be able to achieve it? So any of the panelists can go. Once again, the question is, do you have any advice for individuals who are passionate about their purpose and vision, but fear they won't be able to achieve it? Okay, Mr.
Yeah, so
Go ahead. Sorry, Mr.
go ahead. Jane, go ahead, Jane.
Yes, and then Sir Jim
Yeah,
last. Thank you.
it's a follow-up question actually. Why the fear?
Okay, so whoever sent that question, maybe you can follow it up. But as of now, there is no follow-up here. I guess maybe it would be capabilities, or maybe personal apprehensions and anxieties. Maybe that's just, what I would be fearful of personally.
So yung siguro madalas din yung fear of failure, di ba? Yun yung parang why would I put myself out there na merong ganong parang anxiety ng failure. So that's human nature, right? Na any time na you put yourself out there na meron kang fear of rejection. Pero para sa akin, yung context lang naman is parang what's there to lose? 'Di ba? Parang what's at stake. So ako kasi parang I always operate on, okay, affordable loss. Parang, no, ano ba? So, as WWF, right, we put ourselves out there. We have asks. Every day, nandiyan kami sa mall. Every day, we talk 100 people. Maybe 1 out of the 100 people will agree to support us when we think it's a cause that everybody should support. So, it's really that putting yourself in the mindset na what's there to lose? Pride? Parang takot, di ba? So, if it will help, maybe practice, right? Go to your go to a group na medyo safe space, medyo safe, friendly audience that will help you with your pitch, di ba? That will help guide you through what you're trying to do dito mismo, and I'm sure your friends in the org and certainly in Ateneo will help with that. Pero parang context lang, what are you really going to lose by putting your idea out there?
Thank you for that, Ms. Chin. Sir Albert, I know you wanted to say something earlier.
Yeah, I agree with what Trent mentioned. No? The other one that I want for you to reflect on is yung preparations and readiness. So yes, we all have a vision, we all have a dream. The question is, what will make us deserving of it? What will make us qualified to become one? Diba? So, yun din, minsan hindi natin pinag-iisipan. Of course, doon na ako na parang, no, if you really feel it's for you, go for it. Build the business that you want to build. But then there's the other question, are you ready for it? Are you qualified for it? Like, when I built this business, I thought I was ready, hindi pala. I have to understand the whole funding a company. I have recently just finished my certified management accounting on my 5th year. That's how challenged I was, and so yun. So I can, break it down. Your vision probably is big, probably is high. So you break it down into steps. Kung natataasan ka, break it down to how many steps you need to take on. Because life is a journey, diba? And I hope that you guys would enjoy it, no? And most of our dreams and goals is sabi nga ni Trent kanina, fulfillment, self-actualization, di ba? Which is ito yung ultimate, no? Someone would say na, I want to be president of the Philippines, di ba? And make this country better. Like, yeah, good. How are you gonna get there? No, then don't have anxiety break down and say like, I can't achieve it because it's so high. Break it down to steps and you move forward and upward every single month, every single year until you achieve it. No? So, posible yan. You just need to put in your time, your focus, and your mindset on it with your heart.
Thanks so much for that, Sir Albert. Sir Jim, do you have any advice for those that are passionate about purpose but feel like they will not be able to achieve it?
Siguro sa akin, I think connected na din to sa lahat na kasi it goes across din talaga na break down muna and articulate kung bakit ka may fear, bakit fearful ka, no? What made you fearful? Is it because hindi ka pa confident sa skill set mo? Hindi mo pa alam kung saan ba talaga specifically yung or what you call that, yung passion mo, kasi it can happen, ang dami mong passion, di ba? Dami mong gustong mangyari sa buhay, pero kailangan mo lang talaga mamili ng isa, no? Hindi pwede yung spread out ka, because once you're spread out, you're gonna be spread out too thinly, and you're not gonna be good or being the best, no? In a particular thing, no? You can be the jack of all trades, master in one. And I think yun yung mahalaga na part. Once you articulate it, then you try to, para lang siyang project management, no? Para lang siyang in your course, no? Try to articulate or set mga indicators that you can say, okay, no, kapag may ganito ako, it means na I'm a step closer to my vision or to this passion or to this particular work, no? Kailangan may ganito kang background, so you need to educate yourself to have that kind of particular background, no? If kailangan ng ganitong experience, then you need to work and have ganitong experience pa, no, at first, no? And I think yun. Don't parang in a realistically na point of view. Ako kasi I'm a psychology graduate, so I try to use my course in as much as possible in trying to articulate, no, what I feel, trying to articulate my anxieties, where is this coming from, anong cause nito, and then try to face them head on, no? And siguro sa inyo, baka it will work, no? To try to jot down kung anong indicators ninyo, no? Checklist, no? This is the prerequisite for me to get this kind of job, no? So may mga ganong, I don't know if that works for you, but it can work. It can work. Kasi anxiety is basically losing our sense of control, eh, 'di ba? Once we lose a sense of control, then we get anxious because we can't direct, no, we can't lead anything anymore in our lives, no. So probably the next step is to articulate and try to get back that control, no? um I think yun yung isa sa mga mahalagang mga bagay, no, that you need to try to work on. And if you're really passionate, if andyan na lahat, pero yung confidence mo lang talaga, no, na I think, no, ang apprehension mo, I think hindi ako matatanggap. If it's your passion, then shoot for the stars. Um, hell, I care if hindi ako matanggap, no? Ang dami pang mga companies that has that same vision or goal that I have, no? Kasi yun yung magandang part, no? Once you have that infinite mindset, infinite vision, hindi ka naka-caught up sa isang particular industry or isang particular na office, no, or company, no? Once you have that sense of values and sense of direction and sense of vision, then you get to have and get to select and identify a couple of companies, and then you just shoot for the stars, no? I think yun yung mahalaga. If you're passionate enough, then translate that passion, no, and then apply, no? Wala namang mangyayari kung hindi ka matatanggap, di ba? Pero kung matanggap ka, makukuha mo na yung dream mo, yung passion mo. Yun yung ano, o yun yung trade-offs, no? In economics, you can see the trade-offs. And saan ba yung mas magandang trade-off? Di ba? Kung hindi ka matanggap, then I will apply another company. Pero kung matanggap ka, kuhang-kuha mo yung passion mo and that dream.
Thank you so much for that, Sir Jim. And I think some of what you answered also answers our second follow-up question. So maybe we'll start there with you and then go backwards to Sir Albert and then Miss Trin. So you mentioned how it'll be hard to balance. You need to pick one. So I think it answers the question to some extent. So this is the question. I want to succeed in my career, but I don't want to compromise my personal life and my other passions. How can I go about balancing these goals?
Ayun, actually, Ikigai. If you haven't read the book, I think you should read that book, Ikigai. It basically, you can just make your own Ikigai, no? You do your own Venn diagram, kung anong what you call that, and try to exercise, no, sa sarili mo. How much, like for example, gusto ko ba na mas maraming time to do baking, no? Ayaw ko ng work na 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., no? So you need to have those kinds of parang non-negotiables, no? You need to list down your non-negotiables and work around them, no? And work around them. Kasi mas gusto mong maraming time for, like what Sir Albert did, no? That's a perfect example. Gusto niya ng long life, no? So all the things that does not contribute to his long life, hindi niya muna yun papansinin, no? Kasi may clear siya na goal, no? May clear siya na mga non-negotiables niya. And I think yun yung pinaka-powerful. Once you have that strong conviction of your non-negotiables, then you can easily navigate and work around everything. Pero again, hindi yun madali, ha? Hindi yun siya overnight. Hindi yun siya overnight. It will take lots of years and you need to build yourself, no? Kasi nagawa lang ni Sir Albert kasi he did the gruesome part, no? He had that grit, no, to experience every single day, then articulate na ito yung non-negotiables ko, no? Well, good enough for you kung you can articulate and you're very and your conviction is very strong, no? But most of the time, it's not that easy. But again, if you have that kind of mindset na you have non-negotiables and your conviction is strong enough to work on those non-negotiables, then you can work around and find a particular job, you know, that can contribute to that kind of what you call that vision of yours.
I guess it's time to draw up our ikigais, guys. How about you, Sir Albert?
Yeah, I agree with the ikigai thing, no? But I also agree with Jim on that. I also agree what Kin mentioned kanina. Yung there are things that happens in her life that you have to adjust. Ako rin ganun, no? And what I want to leave you guys with is don't just pursue balanced life, no? Hindi kasi siya magiging balance. There are times you have to leave work for to be next to your dying parent, or like for me, I was Asia, di ba? Why did I left PNG? I was Asia Digital Business Platform Leader. I left it because my father-in-law was dying in the hospital. My wife was miserable. And here I was traveling half of the year into different countries. Diba? And so at that point, I said, I'm going to be there next to my wife. I'm going to support her so that she can stay longer in the hospital, and then I can give her the necessary support. No? And then I look for a job in the Philippines. No? So now, was my life balanced at that time? No. Was my financially I wasn't balanced, diba? But you see, what we should all pursue is not balance. It's fulfilling life, a life that you will be happy to share, happy to tell the stories to others, and a life that you will have pride in it, that you make right decisions, that you have the right values. It's not about balance, guys. Balance is actually another word for compromised life, right? You only work 8 to 5 and all that. But in reality, sometimes you have to work harder to achieve something, diba? This house, yeah, I have to work a little bit harder on that. And my wife was aligned, no? And then couple of years back, we had 2 kids na, 2016. And I told my wife, parang I want to spend more time being around with the kids. No? And if you're chief marketing officer, the time was not controlled by me. I didn't control my time. When I fly to Taiwan, Valentine's Day, I had to be in France in the HQ. Birthday ng wife ko, June 23, there's a regional meeting, and I had to miss a lot of things kasi any company doesn't revolve around me and my family. So I make some calls, diba, along the way. And now my kids are saying like, hey, dad, stay away. I want to focus. And my wife saying, Han, stay away. I want to build my beach resort and all that. Like, okay, then maybe it's time for me to go back to corporate while having some businesses along the around me. So again, the point, stop pursuing that balanced life. It's not about that, no. To me nga, it sounds compromised life, no. A little bit of everything every time. It should be sometimes we had to go to a concert, you know. We didn't have work for a day, diba? Or work for a weekend. But hey, it was an experience worth remembering for years to come. Diba? So it's not about that, no? There are times that I had to go back to Cebu when my lola was dying. There are times na, yung bagyo, ano bang pangalan nun? Was that Odette? Dami ng bagyo kasi may sumunod pa na bagyo nitong March, diba? And I come to rescue to my relatives in Cebu. And I had to drop some work, Some of my clients, they dropped me as a consultant kasi, Albert, I need you. And I cannot have my consultant making excuses for dahil nabagyo yung kamag-anak. It's like, okay, sorry, I have to fly. So yun, live a fulfilling life, a happy life, and one that you will be proud of. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Live a fulfilled life, not a balanced life. Thank you so much for that, Sir Albert. Miss Trin?
I got carried away listening to Jim and Albert, and I kind of forgot the question.
No problem. Okay.
But can you repeat it, Gabby?
No problem. Okay, the question is, I want to succeed in my career, but I don't want to compromise.
Yung idea of compromise. Yeah. Okay, so this is just building on what Jim and Albert already said, right? Yung concepts ng ikigai, which we type on the chat, what that's about. And then yung shinare ni Albert na yung fulfillment and how these priorities change over time. And with yung present ka sa decision na, can you hear me?
Hi, Miss Jun, you were a little choppy, but you're good now.
Right. Yung add ko lang sa sinabi na nila na ikigai and how priorities are dynamic, right? With time and with the situation. Ang i-add ko lang doon is yung importance na present ka sa decision. Bakit ganito at this point? Diba? And yung basis ng decision mo for this particular point in time or in your life. Na, ano yung basis nun? Doon na pupunta yung values mo. Diba? Doon na yung pupunta yung reasons mo. So, I think, with those three, I hope makompleto yung answer dun sa question about how to balance things in your life.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Chin. And I guess that's all the questions we can take for now, given our time constraint. But thank you so much to our speakers. I really enjoyed the discussion that we had today. And I feel like we left it off on such a positive and, inspiring note. When it comes to ikigai, when it comes to balancing your life and, just finding that fulfillment, even within the adjustments and the challenges. So thank you so much for honoring me with this discussion, and thank you so much everyone for listening. I'll hand you guys off to Taka and to Javi again, but once again, I'm Gabby Sendejas, your Bibo buddy who's always ready to party from 2BSME. Good night, guys. Go Taka and Javi.
Thank you so much, Gabby. And thank you, of course, so much to Sir Jim, Ms. Trin, and Sir Albert for gracing us with their insightful discussion. And so, yeah, it seems like I now understand why this plenary was called Reckoning Ahead. Because, Javi, I'm actually super focused on that, and I'm actually no longer anxious about the future. And I'm just, really, really motivated to, make a better future for myself and achieve my vision. What about you, Javi?
Same here, pare ko Taka. I also feel like I have a better grasp of what reckoning ahead ultimately boils down to. Even if the future is uncertain, we still have the power to shape it and turn our visions into reality. No?
So yes, of course, Javi. Thank you so much for that. But of course, to properly show our appreciation to our speakers, we'd like to give them their certificates of appreciation. So if you guys would, please allow me to read the citation. So these certificates of appreciation are given to Sir Jim Akut, Ms. Trin Custodio, and Sir Albert Budahim for their time and expertise in Leads 2022, Reboot's Reckoning Ahead. We are grateful for all the valuable insights that you were able to impart to all of our wonderful participants, given this 27th day of April 2022. So let's all just take a quick picture to commemorate this moment one by one. So Baha, we can start with Sir Albert.
Okay, now guys, for the memories, can we kindly ask all of you to turn on your cameras so that we can see your beautiful and guapo faces and commemorate this wonderful moment.
So we can just wait for this.
We can take a picture with the speakers and their certificates first before one with all the participants.
For sure. Thank you.
Smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then for the next speaker, I will spotlight and then count again from 1 to 3.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sir Albert. Ms. Trin, if you could turn on your cam. Ayan, hello, Ms. Trin. Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile. And then last.
Thank you so much, Ms. Trin.
Thank you
Sir
so much,
Jim.
Christian.
Okay.
Ayan.
One. Oh, you're in a mask, so I'll just assume you're smiling. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, and now everyone.
Ayan.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that.
Come on, guys, group photo. Please open up your cameras if your Wi-Fi permits you to.
Yes,
and if
turn on
if
your
you feel
cameras
comfortable.
so you can see all of those amazing smiles.
Okay, maybe just give 1 or 2 more seconds for anyone to catch up. If you want to open your cam, going once, going twice, or forever hold your peace. Okay, I think that's everyone.
Okay. So there are two panels. I'll take a picture of the first one now. 1, 2, 3. And for the next one, 1, 2, 3. Thanks, guys.
And so hopefully you guys got a picture naman with Javi. It's not every day, no, that we get to have an artista in our Zoom calls. But once again, thank you so much to everybody who made it here for Leeds 2022's Reckoning Ahead. We would like to again thank our panelists, Sir Jim, Miss Rin, and Sir Albert, and of course, Gabby, our discussion moderator.
And of course, a big thank you also to our participants for being here today and sharing this amazing experience with us. So we hope that you guys enjoyed the start of your second training session and that you now have an idea of how you can go about achieving your own aspirations. Lastly, all of us here, we all wish you luck as you will now be working on crafting your own vision in the next few days. Okay.
So yes, no, I'm Taka, your messenger na laging on a mission, shooting for his personal vision. Kahit di 2020 ang vision.
And I am Javi, your firebending, time spending, co-presenting host. And yes, this has been Leeds.
Thank you so much, everybody, and we hope you guys have a great, great night.
Bye,
Thank you, everyone.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody.